Oh, this is so good. Oh, wait till you make it and try it. You're gonna have a new favorite. Oh, do me a favor. Go ahead, click the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Check out my website, which is where you get my recipes. That's S.A.Trotter.com. The link is there in the description box. There's a couple other cool links there. You might want to check them out. Thanks for watching, and let's get into the show. Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. This is Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart, and today we're going to be making beautiful chicken. This is a Southwestern chicken stew. Delicious flavors. Oh, my mouth is already watering for it. Delicious flavors, incredible. And it's easy to make. This is one of the things that I used to do as one of my regular weeknight meals when I was working a regular job, 9 to 5 kind of thing, came home every evening. What do you cook? And this is one of the things I would do because it's easy. All right, it's a couple of chicken breasts, a pair of poblanos, some tomatoes, and the seasonings. And folks, when it's cooked, this just equals delicious, plain and simple. So come on over, let me show you the ingredients that I've already mentioned some of, and then we're gonna get busy making this. It's really not very hard. Come on over. All right, folks, this is a very simple stew that can be done, well, with any cut of chicken or all of them. Today I'm gonna be using breast. All right, you choose whichever cut you want and go with it. You can go bone on or boneless, however you'd like. It works for this dish. A poblano chili. All right, now you want 1 poblano for every person eating. Of course, at least 1 or 2 pieces of chicken for everyone eating. In this case, these are close to the size of being pterodactyl breasts. So I'm going to go ahead and just consider 1 of each of these for a full serving. All right, so I'm making a meal for 2. And of course, if you wanted to do this for 4, just double it or triple it for 6. It's a very easy meal to, kind of shape to your needs. Now, right here, we have some diced tomatoes, poblanos, as I mentioned before. Any other chili will work. I mean, if you can only get, let's say Marisol chilies, we'll use them. If you can only get, bell peppers, use those. It doesn't matter. Go with the chilies that you have available. But if you can find poblanos, these, ladies and gentlemen, these are the magic bullet. They have such wonderful flavor. It makes the dish incredible. All right, so find that if you can. Some garlic, white wine, salt, paprika, got cumin here, olive oil. You can use any other oil if you want. It's just for cooking the chicken. And then on the side, as a side dish, I'm going to be using some rice. And I really do recommend you go with basmati if you can find it. So basmati is literally the king of rice, and the flavor is different enough from regular white that it makes it very desirable. Okay, now that's all there is to that. Let's get busy making this. It's an easy do. There isn't just a whole lot to do to prep for this dish. I need to take the poblanos, or whichever chilies you're using. I'm going to put them on the stove. I'm going to scorch the skin off of them. If you don't have a stove, you can use a gas grill. If you don't have either of those, put them under the broiler in the oven. Okay? After you start seeing it blister on both sides, turn it over. Then put it in a plastic bag and let it sweat for about 10 or 15 minutes. It'll loosen that skin up and it'll pull right off. If you do this charring, you can gently pull the skin off afterwards and you get a nice charred flavor. Not necessarily what I'm going for in this dish, so I won't be doing that. I'm just going to char it, and then I'm going to wash it off, remove the crowns, and cut it up. The chicken, I'm just going to quarter it out, make big chunks of those breasts. If I was using like thighs, I would just put the thighs in there, or drumsticks, put those in there like that. So you can do bone in that way on this dish if you prefer. So it's your choice. It's very flexible. All right, let's get on with this. Here. Ooh, looky there. That won't take long. It'll scorch that skin right off of there. And you're going to hear this pop and crackle. The aroma that you get when you are doing this with chilies is just magnificent. But I will say one thing. Sometimes it can get to the eyes because it does release a little bit of capsaicin into the air. So be prepared for that. If you'll notice back here, I have a pot sitting out. It's just a lidded braising pan basically. So something like that's going to work best for this dish. I like to use a wide bottom pan for this, and something with a lid. So that works real well, or anything that would be a little larger will work well also. If I was going to make more of this, like 4 servings, I would be using a pan about twice as deep as that. I personally suggest anytime you're working with chilies, go ahead, put on some gloves. It will keep that oleoresin off of your skin, that capsaicin oil, okay, which is very hot. It doesn't wash off very easily, even with good detergent, so just glove up. Now, easy enough. If you're used to working with chilies a lot, you can probably not worry too much about gloving up. You've been doing it for so long or whatever. But a lot of people, if you're new to this, then these things, you know, the oil that's in them sometimes lingers, and you know, because I've removed the majority of it, but there's a lot right here in this vein right here, and that's where it's going to be stored, the majority of it. So I want to kind of avoid touching that with my hands because it can cause problems later on. Now what I'm looking for here today, I don't want really like strips or anything. I'm sitting here trying to decide what shape I want to make these cuts, and I think I just want to go with some nice little cubes. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to do. Something that's nice and easy. And whimsical, a little bit fun there. All right, I've got some garlic, and I want the garlic down in my dish. All I'm going to do is just slice it a little bit. Get rid of that. All right. Now that piece gets kind of little at some point. It's kind of awkward to slice. Now the chicken, I just want big chunks. Know what I'm saying? Looky there. That'll be really nice. Okay, so that's all there is to the prep. Now all we have to do is cook it. It's easy enough. Get a flame underneath my pan here, and as soon as it comes up in temperature, I'm going to put my olive oil down in there. I've got a little bit of skin in there from my from my chilies. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to get this thing heated up, and we're going to cook the chicken a little bit first. The whole idea here is to get a little bit of searing, some caramelization going on the outside of that meat, and that gives us extra flavor in the dish. And that's what I'm hoping to get. Giving it a couple more minutes. Now, looky. We're getting it to start skate around in there now. A little bit of sizzling still. But basically, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting right now to that correct temperature. It takes usually a couple of minutes to get a pan to heat properly, to get the right temperature on the bottom for good searing. And I really recommend doing that. Make sure that you do that. And you've seen how easy it is. I don't heat the oil in the pan. You heat it dry. And then once the temperature is right, put a little oil in there and go to frying. Okay, we have our chicken. And a little bit of olive oil. And you can use peanut oil for this. I just had the olive oil handy, so I grabbed it. You know, it was what happened first. Don't crowd the pan. Maybe one more. There we go. Now at this time, I would like to mention a cute little item made for the kitchen. It's called a fry screen. It'll really reduce how much spatter you get. Do yourself that favor. It makes the job so much cleaner. Alrighty, there we go. That has come along beautifully. Look at that color. That's what we're talking about. Now, so what we have here now is delicious beginning. So seasoning, simple enough. Let's put in about a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm wanting somewhere around a quarter to a half a teaspoon of cumin and paprika. So just basically a light dusting, like so. And the same thing here. All right. And if I want, I can add just a little extra water. There's going to be some evaporation. There we are. So what this needs right now, come back up to a boil. As soon as it does, I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm going to lower the temperature to a low, and we're going to let it sit there and just simmer and become absolute gold, all right? Oh boy. Now this, like I've said before, this is one of my favorite meals, and I do it in different ways, and this is just one of the ways, and it is scrumptious. All right, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. This is the point where it just gets a cover. I'm going to reduce my temperature to a simmer, and I'm going to let it just sit there and cook. That needs about an hour. Okay, right now it's just a matter of being patient. The dish is cooking. It needs to just sit there and simmer for a little while. And it takes about an hour of simmering. If you want, you can simmer it longer. And here's the thing, a minimum of an hour. What we're doing is we're developing flavors. Some very unique, deep, stacked, wonderful flavors. But that can't happen if you just heat it up. It has to simmer for a little bit in order for those flavors to build and to develop, all right? And this is just something that happens over time with slow cooking. Stewing. Now, this isn't a dish that takes a long time to cook because it's chicken, all right? Chicken cooks pretty quick and easy. The vegetables do also. So it doesn't have to be stewed for 3 or 4 hours. It's just an hour, hour and a half at the most if you want it that long. And you could simmer it for 2 hours. It won't hurt it. And it will make it more a deeper dish, all right, just a richer dish. The rice, when do you heat the rice? It's simple enough. When this has been cooking for an hour, about 10 minutes before I'm finished here, let me set my timer here. 1 hour, go. All right, now, so at the 10-minute mark, that's when I'm going to take my pan and prep it for my rice. I'll put the water in it, a little butter, a little bit of salt, and then bring that to a boil. And as soon as it does, I'll put the rice in it, and I'll cook that rice up. Don't ever make cooking rice hard. It's simple. And you'll see what I do here in a minute. It's just, if you make it hard, you're just making it hard. There's no reason for that. You cover it, you let it cook the entire time, which is usually about 12 to 13 minutes for basmati. 15 on the long side, depending on your altitude. All right, there it is. Basmati cooks quick and it's delicious. Give your dish some time. Get yourself something to drink. Sit down, relax, read a paper, check your email. You know, the stuff you do after work. Okay, I'm getting ready to do my rice. My timer just now beeped for 10 minutes, and I've got some salt and a little butter in here. I need a cup of water. And as I mentioned earlier, rice is not hard, so don't make it that way. All I'm going to do I'm going to bring that up to a boil. As soon as it does, I'll put the rice in and stir it. I'll put a lid on it, and then I'll let it simmer at a low heat, and it can simmer for about 12 minutes. Usually takes 12 or 13 minutes. When I put a fork in there and pull a few rice grains back in the center, if I don't see water, it's done. That's all it takes. Well, now that's all been pretty interesting so far, hasn't it? Now, what we have is all of our ingredients, and I wanted to tell you the quantity of everything I use. Of course, 1 breast per person, and these things are huge. A poblano per person, and so easy to do. 15 ounces of tomatoes for every 2 poblanos, or this ratio. Okay, so that was 15 ounces there. On the garlic, 3 to 4 cloves. Okay, and that use as much as if you want. If you like it a little more garlicky, enjoy that. I use 3/4 of a cup of white wine, a pinch of salt. You need about a half a teaspoon there. And on that paprika and cumin, remember, it's a dusting. You want to be light on it. So in the neighborhood of between 1/4 to a half a teaspoon of each of those. You don't want them to be present. You just want them to make the dish rich. The olive oil for cooking up that chicken, and the basmati. Now, when it comes to rice, look at it this way. 2 people, that's half a cup of rice is perfect, and that gives you 2 perfect portions. All right, a full cup of rice gives you 4 perfect portions. So work it that way. And again, that's how this dish works very well for any number of people, and is an easy make either way. Now let's take a look at what it looks like when it's all cooked up. The rice is now started. I just started the timer on it, and I'm getting ready to do a thickener for the stew. Okay, so all I want to do is just take a little cornstarch and a little bit of water. If you notice, I'm not really measuring anything out, but that's probably what, about 3 tablespoons maybe, if I were to have leveled out a tablespoon, something like that. And maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of water there. Yeah. And at first this stuff is going to hit the bottom, and it just wants to kind of sit there and stare at you and wonder what you're doing. And eventually it starts to move and it breaks free, and then after that it quickly mixes together. There it goes. Okay. So this is my thickener for the stew itself, and all I have to do is pour it in there, and as I'm stirring it. Don't just pour it in one spot and leave it, otherwise it'll kind of turn into a kind of a gelatinous mass in the middle of everything. So don't do that. All right, there is our stew just bubbling away, and it's got a nice, beautiful broth, but it's kind of thin, and I don't want it all watery like that. Now I doubt I'll need all of my thickener, but I'll use what I do need. So you see how I stirred into that. And right there, I've got a fairly thick gravy-like product. That's really nice. I'm putting maybe just a tablespoon or 2 more, and that'll be it. All right. So at this point, I'm going to be turning off the heat to this because it is pretty much cooked. And if I'll turn off the heat and give it a moment to rest before I serve it up, trust me, it just gets that much better. That chicken starts pulling in some of those juices, and the flavors just get better, plain and simple. So how's that for good looking and easy? That's not a hard meal to do. That's 1 hour right there. Okay, this has been an easy thing to make. Okay, there wasn't really a whole lot of work here. Make sure that's off. The rice it was a total of maybe 14 minutes this time. I had the burner down pretty low, so it was doing its own thing. All right, I just need a little rice here. There we go. Rice is the perfect accompaniment to this dish. It just works with it. Yeah, here we go. Isn't that really beautiful? That's just a handsome meal right there. Plenty of that sauce and those chilies. That's what it's all about, really. That was the flavor that goes along with that wonderful chicken. And there's what we're wanting. Nothing too fancy. Very basic, great weekend meal, a weekday meal. And you can do this on a Sunday also if you want something simple for a Sunday lunch. It's a great one. All right. You know, regardless of which cut of chicken you choose for your stew, it's going to come out delicious. Oh, yeah, there it is. That beautiful flavor. It just pops. It's kind of hard to describe, but sometimes, you know, when you get the right flavors all working together, it does the right thing. And this is one of those dishes. You're going to really enjoy this. It's one that has become one of my favorites over the years, and so I've made it plenty. And as I said, that basmati, you can't beat it, folks. Hey, do me a favor. Take a look right under here. It's in my description box. You'll see some links there. There's one for a company called Wildgrain. They do these really cool sourdoughs, pastas, and pastries that are sent to you on a subscription basis, and you decide how long you want to space it out and what you want in your boxes each time it gets sent to you. So take a look at that. It's really cool. I love my boxes and I use it all the time. Also, there is a chef's temp thermometer. Now, I use that thermometer on a regular basis. You got to know when foods are properly cooked, and it really helps you with quality too. Chef's temp thermometer, it's a really good price, and I'll say this, I've really enjoyed using it. I've been using it for months now, and it is kind of my go-to thermometer now. So give that a shot. Also, there is a link there for S.A.Trotter.com. That's where you get my recipes. All right, take a look at that. Subscribe if you haven't done so, and when you subscribe, please click that bell so you get notifications. Thumbs up on this if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and by the way, if you leave me a comment, I love reading those. Thank you.